I always say we're going to end the week right with Ryan Snyder here on the BWI Daily Edition with a recruiting inside look at what's coming up in the weekend for Penn State recruiting. But we're really ending the week right after starting with snow. Beautiful weekend on tap for the blue-white game tomorrow. Ryan, how you feeling heading into the weekend?
Busy. Very, very busy. I got family in town. I got friends in town. And I'm supposed to track 100 recruits. So I don't know. One of them's going to get left out. Hopefully it won't be recruiting, right? That's my job. But
Yeah.
It's a good weekend. It's always a fun weekend.
Yeah, I eliminate that by not having too many family or friends, really any of either. So it works out in that aspect for me. Although now I have to go and apologize to all 15 of my friends for saying I have no friends.
Hey, 16. You're my friend.
I was counting you.
Oh, sorry.
And I didn't get to this yesterday, so I want to get to this right away because I'm not kidding when I say it is beautiful this weekend. A little cloudy on Saturday, but a beautiful weekend on tap. And I promised I was going to get the forecast each day. But Ryan, you are a resident weatherman because you were very discerning about where I was getting my weather information. So what is your view of the weekend that you're finding?
Weather Underground, man, that's my site. But no, I mean it's even better than it was the other day. It's saying 24% chance of showers at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and then it kind of drops off. But it's looking good. We'll see. I mean, might be a little soggy during your tailgates, but Penn State fans, they're used to that by now, right?
Oh, yeah.
They should be fine.
And then I always say enough to freshen everything up in the morning, and then it'll be beautiful by the afternoon, and everyone will be feeling good about that. And I didn't include this, but if you're staying overnight, if you're making a whole weekend out of it, it's going to be in the 80s on Sunday. So a nice weekend on tap for the blue-white game. I think we should start in the obvious place to start, right? Which is Jameial Lyons is now a Nittany Lion.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, big one, man. I mean, this is obviously Lions they've been pushing for such a long time out of Roman Catholic. Came last year to camp and just crushed it. 4'8", 40 at 240 some pounds at the time he was. He's now about up to 255-ish, I believe. And a 4.5 shuttle, which is just really, really good at a player that size. And, really ever since then, this has been a player that Penn State's been after hard. Sure, he dropped the top 5. That included West Virginia, Illinois, Cincinnati, and I'm forgetting somebody, but it doesn't even matter. Like, Penn State's been the top school for a long time. And, as he said in our interview, really West Virginia was the only other team that gave Penn State a run for its money. He admitted that West Virginia, maybe for a slight period of time, was the team to beat. I think it was very slight because I've had Penn State on top of this one for a long time now. And, good one to get, in the bag because he was talking about not committing until August 4th, his mom's birthday, switches that up after coming up here last weekend. And I know Penn State's happy to have him. So we have him as a 4-star player at On3, number 244 nationally. The consensus has him at number 473. And I feel very good about where we have him as far as being a top-ranked player. Rivals has him as a 3-star. 24/7 has him as a 4-star, but outside their top 247 players. And ESPN, I do not believe has him ranked yet. I'd have to double-check on that one. But On3 is very high on Jameial Lyons. And like I said, man, those testing numbers are a big reason why. And, man, he still has so much development to do still, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a freak of a player, but, man, there's a lot to mold and like there.
He could be, and I get into this in T. Frank's film room a little bit later when that comes out. I think he could be a throwback defensive end at 265, 270 because he's got room to grow and he's 255 already. And with the physical tools he has and the mental room to grow as well, I think that in this class, and this is the part that I wanted to get to with you, this is a stacked cycle for players at his position, and Penn State prioritized him knowing there are some national level players in the Mid-Atlantic region. How important was it to get him on board, and what does this say about the position going forward?
Well, I think that's a big reason why he moved this up too. All right. I mean, he came up here last weekend, had a big, extended talks with the coaching staff, and if he really wanted to stick to August 4th, I don't see a situation where he gets left out of the class. He's a Philly kid, and Penn State always wants to get the best out of Pennsylvania, of course. But as you said, Nick Harbor, there's somebody they're pushing hard for. Whether they get Nick or not, we'll see. That's down the road. But
Yeah.
a lot of other guys. Deshaun Womack's about to drop his top schools. I expect Penn State to be in that. Desmond Umazulu, we've talked about a lot in recent weeks. Mason Robinson's very much in play. Joseph Mapui, who of course is Nicholas Harbor's teammate at Archbishop Carroll. I mean, it's a pretty deep list of quality defensive ends. I'm really high on Michael Kilbane too. Not quite sure if he's in the level of some of those other guys I mentioned, but I think he's a great player. So quality group of defensive ends, and that's great, right? I mean, whenever defensive end's such a premium position, as is defensive tackle. So I still see them taking another couple guys here, and but they're very happy to have Jameel locked up, and I don't see anything changing just because like I said, Penn State's been the favorite for a long time. I can't see any school coming out and plucking him away.
Yeah, and it gives them the opportunity, I think, to go with a really good number if they get 3 in this class and have a variety of different types of players with the projections of what you've been reporting and some of the things that we've seen from them on film. So a really good start with Jameial Lyons, but far from done at the edge defender position. I think that's the important thing to note about 23 in this particular cycle. Anything else on Jameial that you want to share? And of course, BlueWhiteIllustrated.com if you want any of this information in Ryan's write-up of Jameial, or if you want to get inside information to get this before anybody else, sign up for $1, 12 months of access in the Lions Den message forum. You get premium content and insider info. But anything else from Jameial?
Well, he's teammates with Tyseer Denmark, who I think anyone who follows recruiting knows that he is a potential 5-star player in the 2024 class. So that's great. I know Penn State has a good relationship with Coach Preet down there in Roman Catholic. I'll have an interview with him on Jameial and Tyseer here probably early next week with so much going on with the blue-white game. I'll probably push that back a little bit. But just whenever you can land a quality player from Roman Catholic and they have a pipeline of another quality player coming, that's a great sign. It should help Tyseer get on campus more down the road. But as far as Jameial goes, I mean, I think we pretty much hit on it. There's a lot to mold, a lot to like. Incredible athlete. Those numbers speak for themselves. And now it's time for John Scott to teach him how to be a true defensive end. I mean, he's getting better with his hand positioning and stuff. You know better than me on that. You've watched a little bit more in-depth film-wise. But I think there's just a lot to mold and like still.
Yeah, and I don't want to give too much away, but I was telling one of our coworkers, Greg Pickle, about when I'm watching film and I feel like I've got something inconclusive that I want to know more about, it gets to a point where I'm a little obsessive scouring the internet to find more information. But usually it just means that what I'm seeing on film is what's there, and I think that's a fair point about his rawness as an athlete and as a football player at that position, which I'll show you all coming up in T. Frank's Film Room, which you got a sneak peek of some of those highlights that I put together already. Those are going to be in T. Frank's Film Room. So that's another great reason to subscribe to Blue White Illustrated here on YouTube and hit the notification button so you get the context behind those highlights and you get the full breakdown of Jameial Lyons and his arc to Penn State and what I think his growth pattern is going to be. All that coming up later here on YouTube. But coming up later this weekend is the blue-white game. So sunscreen, first thing for everybody, even if it's cloudy. Second thing, they need to know who's going to be here and who's going to be in attendance that are recruits. So what are the names that you're tracking and who are the important players Penn State fans should know that they're going to see on the field?
Well, this is a deep, deep list, which I think Penn State fans have come getting used to, right? I mean, this is pretty much the whiteout. Michigan was a decent list. Indiana, too, actually, because Indiana was a night game last year. But really, the whiteout, the blue-white game are usually the two lists every year where, you hit around 100 or so. And so I'll just kind of go through classes. I think it's a little easier to kind of break them down that way. But some of the general numbers right now is we have about 70 guys confirmed, and about 24 of those are uncommitted prospects who have scholarship offers. Out of the players who don't have scholarship offers right now, I see about half a dozen or so that I could realistically see getting an offer. A couple young guys who, have quality offers elsewhere. Penn State's trying to get another look at. And, in the months ahead, maybe even camp season, I could see them getting an offer. But we'll start, 2023, right? That's the class everybody's focused on right now. And I have a little over about 6-7 guys, who are scholarship guys currently. Tony Rojas is, of course, the name I think Penn State fans have heard a lot. How often have we talked about Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Tony was supposed to be here last week. He ended up canceling because he was busy down in Georgia a couple days prior, and going from Georgia to DC. He lives in Fairfax. Back out to Penn State in a handful of days. That would have been a lot. So he decided to push it back to this weekend. Totally understandable. I would do the same
Yeah.
if I was doing all that traveling. So, but what's notable there is Georgia, right? I mean,
Yep.
they're the team who has recently come into the mix. Georgia is an absolute powerhouse, defending national champions, and they're putting more resources into their program than maybe any program in the country right now. So what I will be looking forward to learn is, of course, how he enjoyed the blue-white game. But really, I want to know a lot about that Georgia visit. And he hasn't spoken with anybody yet. No one from On3 or I believe 24/7 or Rivals. I don't believe anyone's spoken with him yet about Georgia. So that's going to have a massive focus of mine Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whenever we can get him. He is expected to announce his top schools this week. I believe it'll be Sunday, might be tomorrow. He teased a top 4 sometime this weekend. I think Clemson, Georgia, and Penn State should firmly all be in that top list. I think those are really his top 3 schools. And then I really don't know who the 4th will be. He's been to Virginia Tech a ton. I kind of think Tennessee is the dark horse there. He did visit Tennessee. I believe it was in the beginning of April.
They're going to be the dark horse in every recruit this year.
Money.
Yeah.
NIL, baby. As we saw with Nico Iamaleava. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I won't even try. Anyway, so some other guys for 2023. Kendrick Gilbert is an interesting defensive lineman out of Indianapolis making the trip. He's a 4-star player. We have Andrew and Michael Harris, 2 4-star linebacker prospects from Lake Brantley in Almonte Springs. I believe Almonte Springs is a suburb of Orlando. Both pretty quality players. Andrew has a little bit of a higher ranking than Michael.
Yep.
But
fun
Texas
players
A&M
to watch. Both of them.
Yeah. Texas A&M, Florida. I'm trying to think of a couple of schools. Texas A&M, Florida, Miami, Florida State. I believe all 3 of the Florida programs are after them hard. Of course, with Tymir Robinson, outside linebacker for 2023 out of Pittsburgh. With him and Tony Rojas, I mean, I've had them at the top of Penn State's board for how long now?
Yep.
I don't really see that changing. So I still kind of think those are the guys to watch for those outside linebacker positions. But Michael and Andrew haven't been here before. And really, I mean, people ask all the time, like, where do guys sit on Penn State's board? Well, if you haven't visited, it really doesn't matter because that first visit, that first impression, spending time with the staff, it has a dramatic impact on where those guys ultimately kind of rank, if their takes or not really.
Yeah.
So I think after this weekend, we'll have a much better feel for that situation. But a couple other guys then, Zach Owens is a quality offensive line prospect out of Georgia who's making the trip. And Jalen Thompson, too, is a quality defensive end out of Cass Tech. Those are pretty much the top guys for 2023. I haven't talked to Zach Owens very much. I haven't talked to Jalen Thompson very much. Both are 4-star players, I believe, in the consensus. So, of course, Penn State has 4 offensive linemen committed already. So with Owens, with him being an O lineman, I'll be curious to kind of see where he ranks. Penn State's going really hard with Georgia offensive linemen right now.
Yeah.
Connor Liu was up here. Nathan Afobe was up here. And I'm missing. Paul Mubenga, I believe, was up here like a week or 2 ago, and now Owens will be the 4th, from the Atlanta area to make a trip up here. So that's interesting to me. Troutwine seems to be pushing really hard there. Whether he gets any of them, only time will really tell. But that seems to be an area of focus.
They seem to be a kind of a similar group of guys that are huge, well-developed, violent football players. Definitely one of those, what are they feeding them in Atlanta sort of things where you see guys that are just very impressive. One quick thing, and I know that I'm doing the thing that I don't like to do, which is just go purely off of the highlight film, but I've been saying no more than 3 linebackers in this class. Like, that is the absolute limit. I really like these Harris twins. I think, especially Andrew at that Mike position, if it was a package deal thing, I could see Penn State pushing to 4 because, if you had those 2 plus Tymir Robinson and Tony Rojas in this class, that's a lot of speed on the defensive secondary, and that would be a huge game changer. So, a long way to go there, but that is I am now opening the door to the caveat of if they're a package deal as twins, I would consider it.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we also got to keep Jordan Hall in mind. Phil Picciotti, of course, was just here last weekend. So there's no shortage of talented linebackers for 2023. And That's a good thing, right?
Yep.
Whenever you're in the mix with a handful of quality, high 3-star, 4-star kind of players, you're bound to get at least a couple of them. So Rojas, Robinson, I still think they're the top guys. But talk to me in a couple days about these Harris twins, and maybe I'll have a different story for you.
Yeah, it seems like the class of 23, there are some guys that are coming into the fold for the first time that you're mentioning here with some of the Southern players coming up. Are there any well-known, well-worn names that you haven't mentioned that you want to bring up, or should we move on to 24? Because there's a lot of 24 guys that I thought were interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean those are pretty much the top guys. I mean, Aiden Martin's coming up from Governor Mifflin. He's former teammates with Nick Singleton. He doesn't hold a Penn State offer yet. Temple has offered. A couple other lower Division I schools have offered. I've always liked Aiden a lot. I think he's a quality cornerback prospect. Not quite sure if he's big enough for Penn State's level, but I like him a lot. But for the most part, everybody else coming is kind of more so for 2023. Potential walk-on guys or guys who, Penn State wants to see in camp, and, maybe they'll put up big numbers there and things will change a little bit. But those guys we hit on are the quality prospects who, I have no doubts that Penn State's very interested.
So that moves on to 2024, where there are some big in-state names, but where do you want to start with the guys that are coming up for the class of 24?
Yeah, so this is deep, and we got to keep some stuff behind a paywall, right? So I'll hit on just a couple of the guys here. We know Quentin Martin is coming up. Talked about Quentin nonstop, and get used to it. We're going to talk about him for another year and a half or however long it is until he commits. He's of course a 2024 prospect from Bell Vernon, and just look at these highlights here. I mean, he's an absolute monster. Penn State is recruiting him as a running back. The size is legit there. I mean, he's going to be 6'2" here, probably not too long. We have him at 6'1.5", 185, and I'll be
one of the taller running backs. Penn State doesn't typically recruit super tall running backs, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's right now he's an athlete. Excuse me, right now he's an athlete on 3. Right now he's a running back for Penn State. I mean, look at these highlights though. I mean, the guy is legit. There's no questioning how good of a player he is. So getting him back's huge. I mean, Ohio State just hosted him last week and offered him when he was out there for a spring game, and Texas A&M offered this week, right? So 2 monster programs there, and if others like Georgia and Clemson and Oklahoma and Alabama and whoever else I'm missing, if they don't come calling, I'd be shocked. Like I expect Quentin Martin to have offers from just about everybody. Peter Jones is another PA guy. Who I think is very important for Penn State. That I put in a pick for Peter Jones. Oh, I don't know. He got an offer in January, and it wasn't too long after that. And, he told us he was a Penn State fan growing up and all this stuff, and, feel pretty good about that one. Well, one thing that has come up recently, though, is he got an offer from Notre Dame. Harry Heinstead, I believe, is their offensive line coach. And he's from Malvern. So that's intriguing to me. I do think Notre Dame is going to be a serious player there. So getting him back, of course, for what will be his 3rd visit now, I believe, is pretty important. That makes him a player to highlight for sure. So there's a lot of other guys, though. Ben Roebuck is a really good offensive lineman from Ohio. Ohio State, has not offered him yet. But
this guy's fun.
Oh, Roebuck. So I'm so mad, man. I went out, of course, to see Drew Aller play St. Edward, and I noticed him and all that stuff. This was before he had any offers, of course, and I just wish I would have focused on him more that night and just gotten a little more film and details on him, because I was so focused on Aller, right? You're going out there to see Drew Aller play his biggest game, and of course Michael Kilbane was in that game. There was a bunch of guys who I just, looking back, I did a crappy job scouting that night and really doing a job to find other guys. It was also 20 degrees, so spare me on that one. I was freezing my butt off. But anyway, I think Roebuck's an awesome prospect, and I said, man, if Ohio State comes calling, he's legit size-wise, whatever.
6'7", 320, I think is what he's listed at.
I think it's legit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I have an immediate comp for him, and it's Daniel Falele, the former Minnesota offensive lineman, because he is just jumbo for a lineman. My concern is he's a little plodding. So his focus for the rest of his life is not going to be on getting bigger. He's one of the few people on the planet that doesn't need to get bigger. He just needs to make sure he gets quicker, because 6'7", 320, what you could do with that if you were Phil Troutwine. But good quickness, too. I think you saw in some of those blocks, able to get those reach blocks that Penn State desperately needs. But that's a very interesting prospect. I have not seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, he's listed at 6'7", and I mean, maybe it's an inch big, but like I remember seeing him. I was like, "Oh, this guy is legit."
Yeah.
Had to be 6'5", 6'6", when I saw him in the fall. So, uh, there's a couple other guys too. I don't want to get into all of them. Like I said, I need to keep stuff behind a paywall for our subscribers. Chris Jones is one guy, the guy I'll mention too. He's put it out there already that he'll be at Penn State. Quality linebacker prospect from Virginia, and he's related to Kenny Sanders. So I've talked about that before. He's Kenny Sanders' younger cousin. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
Kenny's one of the best recruiters on the staff. Two, his lead recruiter is Jameial Snyder, one of the other best recruiters on the staff. There's a
Yeah.
family tie for three. I mean, everything, you would think bodes pretty well there for Penn State. But let's see how it shakes out. He's been to Virginia Tech a couple times, Notre Dame. I should get him on campus here at some point. But that's a player I expect Penn State to land down the road.
Is there anyone in the class of 25, or we're looking ahead towards that class? Because I know Penn State is not working on just these two. There's always things in the works. So are there any interesting names that stand out to you for 25 coming up this weekend?
I'll talk about all these guys. They're all babies, right? We can introduce them to fans. So Nikolai Brooks and Braden Jacobs are two really intriguing offensive line prospects. Braden Jacobs is the son of Brandon Jacobs, the former running back for the New York Giants back in the day.
He's a kid already?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Wow. I mean, he not as a kid; he is a teenager.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. Yeah, dude, he's 6'4", 264 already. I mean, he's going to be a big boy. And his teammate; these guys are teammates. They're on the same team as St. Francis. Another 2025 offensive lineman, Nikolai Brooks, is listed at 6'8", 330. I mean, even if that's over an inch or two, like 6'6" probably is legit. 6'7" maybe.
Yeah.
But like, think about having like these two 14, 15-year-old freshman babies on your team that are just absolute monsters like that. I want to go see a St. Francis game in Alpharetta, Georgia, just to see those two in action. But I'm sure Penn State fans will be able to spot them on the sidelines this weekend. They are expected to be here. John Forster is a quality running back out of St. Joseph Regional in Montvale, New Jersey. He just picked up a Penn State offer, I think it was a week or two ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago when he was up here for a visit. So another guy to keep an eye on. There's going to be three quality running backs here that I'm expecting. Tyke Hayes out of Aliquippa. I think Penn State fans who maybe watched that state championship game with Aliquippa saw him really perform well. He had a couple touchdowns in that game, and he's going to be the real deal. He already holds a Penn State offer. And then Bud Coombs is a player out of DeMatha who also holds a Penn State offer, another quality running back prospect. He only has one or two offers right now. But everybody I speak with from either DeMatha area or Penn State sources say that Bud's going to be the real deal. I don't believe he got a ton of playing time last year as a freshman at a stacked school like DeMatha, but everyone expects him to be great. Boston College has also offered him. So that's really the list for the 2025 guys. But I expect all of them to – look, it's really early, right? Like I'm not going to say like 4 or 5 or 5 stars or anything like that. But all of them are on pace to be quality prospects down the road. And
if you're 6'8"
and Jacobs,
if you're 6'8" and you're 3 years, like obviously you're going to be getting interest from schools, especially if you play well and you're part of it, starting at that point in some of these schools. So I think that's safe to say that some of these guys are going to be pretty good prospects. Is there anybody else? And I know that's the list for 2025. Is there anything else to expect from this weekend other than players visiting? Is there any other things that you're keeping an eye on, maybe outside of just the players that are here?
I don't think commitment-wise, we're going to see anything.
You knew exactly where I was going because I got to ask that for the fans. Yeah. I know, just got one on Friday, but
I don't see it. But I've had surprises in the past, so we'll see. Like, do I see Tony Rojas coming this weekend? No. I see him taking official visits down the road. Jalen Thompson's visiting for the first time. The Harris twins are visiting for the first time. Zach Owens is visiting for this first time. Like, pretty much all of these guys are visiting for the first time out of the 2023 class, right?
Yeah.
When you look down for 2024, there are a lot of guys that make sense. Pretty much all the guys that I hit on, they all make sense. But committing now, does that really make sense? Not to me, not at the moment. So let's see how that shakes out. I will say Rodney Gallagher is expected to drop his top 8. I believe it'll be this weekend. I'm working to get in touch with him to have a story ready for that. So Rodney's going to definitely take official visits. That's going to drag into the summer. I would think July makes the most sense
Yeah.
for a Gallagher commitment. I still expect Penn State to be the team to beat. And other than that, we have the spring evaluation period starting. Well, really, it already started. That starts April 15th. But Penn State will hit the road here next week. So next time you and I talk, Penn State staff will be on the road out, putting a ton of prospects through different workouts. I think we hit on this a couple weeks ago, T. Frank, in one of our dailies. But what I expect to happen is Penn State will probably stay here Monday, Tuesday. They'll do some of their final evaluation work or whatever it may be, looking back at spring practice. And I think by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'll see a bunch of coaches start hitting the road to go to different schools, work out different prospects, all types of stuff. So really, from here through the end of May, Penn State's coaches will be on the road pretty much every week. Maybe not all day, every day, like you see sometimes in December and January. Like literally, they go away for 2 weeks straight, pretty much in that period.
Right.
But I would say 5 or 6 of the assistant coaches will probably be on the road at some point throughout May.
So last question, and I know you kind of hinted at this already, but just so fans are aware, we've gone through the unofficial visit process for a lot of players. They're going to be setting up their official visits. Those announcements should be coming in the next couple of weeks to set them up for basically June, right? Is that how that process works?
Yeah. June has become the month for official visits now. A lot of guys will save some officials for the season, but as we saw last July. July is becoming commitment month, right? Guys take their officials in June, they commit in July, they start their senior seasons in August, and a ton of quality prospects are following that roadmap, and I expect it to be very similar this year. Penn State holds a few more commitments than they did at this point last year, so I don't know if we're going to see that kind of a month that we saw last year with, whatever it was, 14, 15 commitments if you include some of the younger guys and the kid from Harvard who committed at a time named drawing a blank. But there are a handful of official visits already set up. I did an interview with Kobe Keenum last week. He put it out a little tweet, didn't say the date. I set my first official #WeAre. Anyway, that was a bit of a tease. I confirmed with him that he's coming June 10th. And Kobe was a guy who was up here often, regularly, really in the summer and then early season. And then he kind of was quiet. We haven't heard from a while. Penn State has 4 commitments all line. What's going on there? He confirmed that Penn State is still very much in the mix. And of course, right, he's taking an official visit. So they very much are. Dakari Nelson will be on campus that same weekend. He's a top prospect from Selma, Alabama. I've talked about a few times. He was up here earlier in the year. And then I think Penn State fans have seen some of the other official visits. Trayon Webb is who I was thinking of. He's expected to be here that same weekend for June 10, June 11. I think Florida's trending with Webb. But we'll see what happens. But there's a bunch of other Southern guys too who are confirmed. Our subscribers know who those guys are, and we'll leave it at that for now. But
great reason.
Be hectic.
Great reason to scroll down in the video. A big bold word, join, and then you click that link. You get $1. You pay $1. You give on 3 $1, and then you get 12 months of this stuff. The access to the inside information that Ryan gets and gives to our premium subscribers. So lots of stuff to chew on, even with that, here on the show. So Ryan, thanks so much for coming on and dishing out some information.
Yeah, busy week. We'll recap it all on Tuesday, of course, with Greg and I, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about next Friday as well. It's going to be a busy week recapping, guys, really. And then after that, it slows down a little bit, but I'm sure it'll still be something to talk about. Yeah, and something that Ryan and I are going to talk about off air is how we're going to make the daily a little more recruiting-centric going forward. The summer. Oh, are we?
Yeah, yes. The first time anyone's hearing that come out of my brain is that
okay.
We're going to shift our focus a little bit during the summer to the thing that's happening, which is recruiting. And we'll be providing you excellent content all summer long, unless I'm on vacation. That's the BWI Daily Edition. I'm your host, Thomas Frank Carr. Ryan Snyder. Thanks to everybody who came on the show this week. All our other co-workers, Dave Eckert, Nate Bauer, Greg Pickle, all doing a great job here on the BWI YouTube channel. We will talk to you tomorrow at the Blue-White game.